day, son. Let that beat drop. Let the stars align. Let that nigga shine. Oh, oh, now we putting it work. Oh, oh, I got these songs for the season. She wanna fuck at the seasons. I just be chillin', I'm freezing. Autumn not moving, no trees. Shawty immutable, nothing stays the same. She changed it up like the seasons, and everything's all for a reason. So I just thank God that I'm breathing. I'm dropping the music that sound like a movement. I'm grounding and grooving to get you in tune, and I'm seeing it through that you love what I'm doing. So fuck what they doing. Now we putting it work.
And as the song fades out in the back, man, thank you to all the great artists that allow me to use their music on my platform. That is 8BALLKAINE Seasons. Check it out on SoundCloud. And he has so much more work on other platforms. But, you know, right now I'm working on coming up with my own theme song, you know, so I can. Tony and 8Ball got me get hit by the copyright police every week, but I'm okay with that, you know. Even if I did make some money, even though we ain't making money off the platform just quite yet, I would definitely pay those guys their worth if I could. But thank you guys for tuning in. It's your favorite host doing them. Come on now, y'all should know this by now. I'm saving that for the real intro, but I am Mo Williams. This is Give 'Em Mo Podcast, and I do thank you for tuning in and listening. Still don't know the name of this episode. We're going to call it The Love Theory. Love with a 7, because we ain't taking no L's in love. Thank you. Testing, 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2. It's your boy Mo Williams tuning in. This is Give 'Em Mo Podcast. I like the way that sound. This is supposed to be a test, but I like the way that sounds so much, I'm going to just keep going. Welcome to the Give 'Em Mo Podcast. I am your favorite host doing the most. You know I love to boast. It's Mo Williams tuning in. It's a beautiful day outside, around 60 degrees. I'm sorry I couldn't come to you guys last week. I've been under the weather, having sinus issues and feeling like I had the flu, but you know, we overcame that. Thanks to my love, she took good care of me. Convinced me to take some medicine. I hate taking medicine, but it is what it is. But hope everyone's doing all right. Hope you didn't miss my voice too much. I've only been gone for a week. Everybody, hope you had a nice Valentine's Day, and if you celebrate that, or Galentine's Day, if you went out with your ladies, or whatever you choose to believe in, you know. Thus far, it's been crucial to take care of your health and just make sure that you're doing as much as you can to stay out of the way. Rest in peace to Pop Smoke, another young 20-year-old, born in 99. He probably was about to be 21 this year, if he wasn't already. Another young up-and-coming artist who lost their life. This situation, I believe, he was set up from the people around him, to let you know you have to be careful. Sometimes when you move in a certain way and then you come into money. Now me personally, I couldn't see myself harming or killing my longtime friend over anything, let alone some money, because if we was broke together, then we're not necessarily broke, but if we didn't have the most growing up together and you come across something, I'm just going to be happy that you live in the life. I don't even expect anything, you know. A lot of times you see people who, friends, come across money and they're claiming it like it's theirs. No, that is their money, and if they choose to give you some, then that's fine, but if they don't, you just got to move on with it. You know, I don't know the full situation, but, you know, rest in peace to another young African-American male. Apparently he was on the rise. I never listened to his music, and I'm not going to tell you I did. I'm more upset about the loss of another young person in this world. You know, death has no age limit, and it seems like more and more people in my age and younger are losing their life at a higher rate than people who are in their 40s and 50s and above. And, you know, nobody wants anybody to die, but you should at least outlive your parents. And nowadays, people aren't even outliving their parents. So please make sure you take care of yourself. Please make sure you never know who really in your circle, but I guess with your real friends, you know, God will put you in, the universe will put you in real situations so that you can understand who is around you. And, you know, I feel like I come weekly now with a death to someone who was on the rise. And it's sad. Yes, it's very sad, but, you know, we have to keep pushing. You have to remain intact. You have to stay strong. This world is trying to desensitize all of us with the way the media portrays death. And you know, that's the arrogance in me of being an American. America is trying to desensitize Americans. Other countries, you know, unless you're in a third world country or in a communist type situation, you'll be fine. But anyway, you know, just protect yourself, protect your family, things of that nature. Now we're going to jump into what this episode is really about. I went back and forth on the name, whether I was going to call it Love Theory, the manifesto on how to love. I still don't know the name, but this episode is about love. We are in Black History Month, and you know, it's more prevalent now than anything to figure out who you are and where you come from or where your lineage come from. It gives you a better understanding of self. Get in touch with your elders, things of that nature, so you can understand where they come from to kind of see why you are the way you are. But when it comes to love, in some countries, there's more than one word for love. And it's kind of been on my mind for a long time. What does love mean? You know, I asked this open question. You can comment in any comment section you want to, depending on the platform you choose to listen to it on. Does love have a definite meaning? Or does it have multiple meanings? And in my opinion, love has way more than one meaning. There's love of self, love for a brother, love for a sister, love for mother, love for father, love for grandparent, love for a child, love for a friend, love for all different situations. And I think that the reason why people fall short and the reason why people have mishaps when it comes to love and the reason why people say love don't love nobody is because they box the word love. They look at it as just a 4-letter word when love actually has an infinite amount of meanings. Now, how you express your love, that's on you. If you decide you should not love everybody the same. I know in this world they tell us to treat everyone the same, you know, but I more or less lean towards treat everybody the way you would like to be treated. That's what I lean towards, because I can't love everyone the same and I can't treat everyone the same. And that's just natural. So when it comes to love, you know, we learn it early. I love you. And probably first time you hear it is from a parent or something like that. And you know, when you go to school and daycare and stuff like that, your mindset and the way you depict love changes instantly as soon as someone outside of someone you expect to say it says it. I don't care if you're 5 years old and they call it puppy love or innocent love, and a little girl tell you, hey, I love you. The way you respond to that, the way you take it, it's so innocent when you little, but little do you know, the way you depict love and the way you take it in, it started right there. I come from a family where we don't, you know, my family, we're a close family, but we're not like your typical, well, we're not like some families that's always around each other. No, we don't spend all our time together. We normally come together on major holidays. We can all speak to each other if we choose to. Everyone loves each other, but I never really, even in the Thanksgiving and the Christmas, I never really just seen us all together, you know, screaming, I love you. And I think it's because my family, well, my mother's side of the family, and even my father's side of the family, I think the understanding of love is already there. And when you understand love, you don't have to necessarily blurt it out. And that's just my family, Some families is, I love you this, I love you that. I didn't grow up that way, so the way I feel about it is, in certain situations it's already understood. But I can also say that may be the reason why when it's actually time to be in relationships and things of that nature, that the depiction of love is different, because it's not said as much. So either you're going to overdo it or underdo it. You either, in the beginning, you either going to be meeting girls and just throwing it out there. And I'm a male, so, when you little, you don't understand. But when you get older and you think about your younger self, I used to just tell girls I love them just for conversation purposes, not understanding that female took it in a different eye. And I'm 25 and I'm still learning the complexity of love and how much a person will do and won't do, and how somebody's past affect their future and the way they love you. The most selfish thing I used to do, I talked about this in Eternal Now with 8BALLKAINE. Big shout out to him. I hope he's doing well. We want to help people, or in this case, we want to love people, but we want to love them the way that we want to love them. Instead of just loving them in a situation for what it is and letting it be carefree, we have to love them in a setting that we understand and that makes us feel comfortable. It's not about you when you choose to love someone else. And a lot of people, even though you're trying to love somebody, you can selfishly love someone. You have to sit there and think about what this person been through. Is this the right person can this person even reciprocate love? There's a lot of people that can't take love in. They can't process it, but they can give it just as good as somebody that can take it in. And in this world, you hardly ever run into somebody that can do both, that can both receive love and give it out just as good. You normally meet people, in my experience, I normally met people who were good at giving it out, but didn't know how to perceive it because of what they've been through in the past. So they were good at giving it out, but it still didn't feel good enough because you was giving it to them and they couldn't take it. They only knew how to love you. They did not have self-love. There's a difference between a love of yourself and a love of somebody else. You cannot love anyone else, any physical human, more than you love yourself, because that puts you in position. Now, the only way the narrative probably changes, because I'm not a parent, is if you are a parent, because that is your creation. But I can argue you that creation, that birth, that is you loving yourself from a different point of view. And that's the reason why I say you can't love no one more than you love yourself, because if you're going to say kids, all right, cool, that is your creation. If you're going to say I love my parents more than I love myself, all right, cool, you're still a part of that DNA, you're still a part of that chain, which is basically self-love. But when it comes to self-love, it starts when you're a kid. If you wasn't given the understanding of what it meant to love yourself as a kid, then it gets hard. If your parents was always working and nobody had time for you, then trying to understand yourself becomes hard. If you are a female, and I know when it comes to parenting, in the retrospect, you need the opposite sex just as more as you need the same sex to teach you. But if you are a female and you have a real mother, you need your mother to show you how to be a real mother, while you need your father to show you what to look for in a man. You know, you hear a lot of girls say, "Oh, he a mama's boy." Well, that might be a good thing. Generally, if he love his mother and he meet a female that reminds him of mother and he really loves her, then his biggest thing will be how much do mother love him, and is she mature enough to let him go when that woman that reminds him of her steps in place. Because, see, you can meet a woman that reminds you of your mother, and it can become too much for her if your mother is too much in your life. Luckily with me, I'm kind of going on that path, but luckily my grandmother took care of that part for me, so I ain't even have to cross those bases yet. But I love my mother, and we basically text or chat, even if it's for a few minutes, few seconds, every day, and I have no problem with that. Because when I was younger, it was why is she always messaging me? When you get older, it's like, I'm glad that somebody cares enough to check on me, because some people don't have that. It took me a while to perceive the type of love that my mother had, because she always would give me stuff, and she wasn't, the person that's going to be saying I love you all the time. And that doesn't mean that she was, didn't know how to. She's just not that person, and I'm okay with that. And I follow suit. But earlier, I'm only 25, so earlier it'd be like 16, 17, 18. Earlier, and maybe even before that, when you first start talking, I took the other path of overly using the words I love you, because I was too young to understand what that was to do to females. Most females are mature than males at that stage to a degree. I don't know about now. Well, I do know about now, but you can catch some that ain't up there the par with you. But so when you telling the female I love you, you have to also understand that even in the young stages, a lot of young girls have always had that depiction of being married. I always had that depiction of being someone's mother and things of that nature. And a lot of them, just like men, we have, about 25 of them be a millionaire, this, and that. I was one of those guys. Women, their clock is a lot different than ours, especially when they're younger. Their clock is tried and true. You'll meet some women that are married the wrong man and have kids and everything just because they said they was going to do it by 24, and they'll do it. Me, on the other hand, I'm my mother's only child. My father has 4 children, including me, and I was never pressed to get older and be married. And I guess it's because at some point, my cousins and them was always around, and we played and we grew up with them, and then majority of them went to Charlotte. So I was by myself, and by yourself, I wasn't selfish, but I had to learn how to be alone in my space. So while being alone, it wasn't a figment of my imagination to be like, oh, I want to be a family man one day. I feel like whatever you want to be, you can manifest it. But some people want it too bad. And you need to understand that if you plan on loving someone forever, you can't predict the future. No, I know you can't. But if you plan on loving someone forever, then it's like what Usher said in the song Matrimony. Why are we rushing this? Why do you love someone? Why do you rush a situation in which you plan on loving someone forever? It's because you might be insecure in love. That's another element, is loving through insecurities, where you'll meet people that know they're with the wrong person or doing the wrong things based off who they are and how they go about handling themselves, and they'll just do it, and you'll be like, but you too smart. There's no such thing, because once you put feeling, once you put emotion into something, once you invest time, you'll meet a lot of people who become defeated, and their mindset becomes, well, I'm not about to go out here and mess with all these different people and talk to all these different people. I keep dealing with, what is it, the devil you know or the evil you know? It's 7 billion people on the planet. If you are a male, that should be the last thing on your mind. I can argue a female should feel that pressure more than a male because the ratio to male to female is 1 to 7. So every 1 male, there's 7 women. So I can argue that women feel more pressure than a man do in that perspective because there are more women on this planet than there are men. Now, that may be why men naturally gravitate to having more women and women naturally gravitate to just being with one male. Now, I know that's not the true stat, but let's just say it is. It makes perfect sense. There's less males. Men look at it like, I have more options. There's more fish in the sea. But, as I was saying, if you believe you're going to be with somebody forever, then you should believe in the process of taking your time. Because I look at marriage and being with a woman as milestones. Okay, in those first couple months, they call it the honeymoon phase or whatever. You make it through that. Let's just say you make it through that. You do a whole bunch of exciting things. Now you're in the gray area. You've been together. You done passed the holidays. Her birthday and stuff is months away. And you don't have to do nothing. Now, you can choose to not do nothing, or you can be spontaneous with your love. You know, every now and then you pop up with a gift. Just to oversee that gray area, you have to understand that, no, I'm not saying that you have to buy gifts and stuff like that. You don't. But to show simple appreciation will keep you happier longer. I seen the dumbest post yesterday and everyone is talking about it. This girl goes and buys her boyfriend some rental property for his birthday, and he didn't want it. He was upset and thought it was the dumbest gift because he wanted a Rolex. Now, even though watches are collectibles and they can be an asset and they can gain, value over time, why would you even do that to her? He said, I'm not about to flip no land, this, and that. And so you just made her feel unappreciated because she went out there and got you an investment instead of a watch. And that's just the world we live in. And, it was a black couple. But, you get a girl like that who's investing and taking care of you for the future and got you some land, and you shot her down, you hurt her feelings. And this would be the same type of guy that would try to convince me that black women don't care about black men, and this is why they go outside of race and this and that. We're not going to get into that. It's not a race relation, but this is part of the culture. This woman went and got a gift that lasts for a lifetime. This is a generational gift. This gift can make your family money for the rest of your life. It's rental property. And you upset about a Rolex. The only way that Rolex will make your future generations money is if they sell it. That's it. But that property, you can do a lot with that. Now, what type of love do you have to say, you know what, I'm going to go buy this male some land, and then think about the hurt she got when he didn't want it? But that's okay. Same way she bought it, the same way I hope it's in her name, and the same way I hope she take and flip the land. I'm not going to say she should kick him to the curb. That's a tricky situation. You don't know why somebody reacted to something, but that's just something we saw and it was stupid. But like I said, back to the longevity of love, if you believe in the forever thing, there should never be no rush in what you do. If you believe in the concept of forever, especially if you're in your early 20s or 30s, even your 40s now, because of how young people look and feel and how much more life you should feel you got in your 40s and maybe even your 50s. If you meet somebody and you feel like they are for you, take your time before you add complication to the situation. Take your time before you put the government, before you make an arrangement through the government. Take your time before you go off and have children, because that's something you never really can be ready for, no matter how much money you got. I just seen a post that a photographer took a picture of Serena Williams, and she got the money and the fame and everything, and she was holding her baby, and she was in a natural state, and she looked tired. And I guess the picture was to destroy her image, like, look at Serena, no makeup, no this, no that. And she was like, I would just like to thank the photographer who took this picture, because, I didn't understand how hard it was to be a parent, but it's tiring, and I be stressed. Now, that's the word that caught me off guard, because people would assume that this way past a multimillionaire wouldn't be stressed by having a child. I mean, she got the money. Everybody stresses. Money does not teach you how to raise a child. No matter how much money you got, it does not teach you how to raise a child. And I'm not saying that in Serena's case. I'm not saying she thought that. She's a mother, and she was thinking all the women who before her, or all the current mothers who going through what she going through, like, this is tough. All the parents going through what she going through. This is tough, even if you're highly successful, even if you're as strong as Serena Williams, as decorated as she is, it's still tough. And people don't understand that. But through love, and the right type of love, and being a real mother, she'll overcome it. She'll overcome it. She's a strong woman. She'll overcome it. Most people overcome everything. But I guess me, when it comes to the love that you have to spend the rest of your life with somebody, make sure that love is peaceful as it can be, and as patient as it can be. I guess that's the advice I would give. What is the rush on forever? That is my love theory when it comes to loving someone else. Now, when it comes to loving myself, it's almost the same thing. I should never hate myself. I should never harm myself. I should never put myself down. I should never belittle myself. I'm allowed to be disappointed in myself. I'm allowed to push myself. I'm allowed to tell myself I should do better. But what I will not do is try to negatively enforce a positive agenda. I'm not going to beat myself up because I didn't go to the gym on these days and I got out of shape. No, we're not going to beat ourselves up about that. We can do better. I can be disappointed that I got lazy or that life happened. But you are meant, in this flesh, you are meant to experience yourself through different phases. You only really figure out who you are through different phases. And weight gain is one of those phases. You see a lot of people. I've been skinny my whole life. First of all, you're only in your 20s. I've been skinny my whole life. I've been small. They go to the gym all the time, drinking protein shakes, want to gain weight. And as soon as they gain weight, they become some of the most laziest people you ever meet. It's like, well, when you wasn't gaining weight, you was active. But now that you got weight, you didn't realize that it slows you down. And there's a clock for everybody. When that natural clock slows down and you have to work 2 times harder to lose that pound than what you did when you was 21. Be careful what you ask for. But if you're going to love yourself, you got to love yourself in all shapes, forms. And if you get out of shape, that's on you to figure out how to get back in shape. Back to Serena Williams. She was in the gym when she was like 8 months. If you want to be dedicated like that, be dedicated like that. but don't belittle yourself. You can only be yourself. There's no such thing as a life that's greater than yours, as J. Cole would say. Now, when it comes to loving outside of yourself, loving outside of a parent or a child, and loving outside of a companion, it gets a little bit more tricky in how you should love your friends. And I was talking to my best friend the other day, John, yesterday actually, and I was just like, when we was in high school, I felt like I was one of the only people that was realistic about the thing. Because when in high school, around 11th, 12th grade, especially senior year, my message to everybody was, I hope you're so busy being successful one day that we don't have time to talk to each other every day. And of course, people will hear that and be like, dang, that's crazy. Why wouldn't you want to talk every day? Blah, 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 this and that. And it's not because I don't want to talk every day. It's because it's more interesting if I don't hear from you in a couple of weeks and you come back and you tell me about all your accomplishments and how good your family is doing. But if I'm talking to you day by day, what are we doing with our time to where we have enough time to sit on the phone with each other every day? And I can say, through my core group of friends, they are all off, busy, being successful. They have children, some have wives, and, I'm extremely proud of all of them, but I'm not around them all the time. And, we're not hustle friends, so to speak. We ain't on the block together and this and that. So my level of trust towards my friend is different because I understand that these are my real friends just based off some of the things we've been through and I've been through with them. Now, like I said at the beginning, rest in peace to the young artist. The guy he was probably with was a friend he grew up with. And who's to say this guy hasn't been planning to set him up all along? But he had to never really been his friend because there's no way you struggle together and you not understand that your friend hasn't even fully blown up yet. And this is your real friend. I know they say money changes people. Even if the guy reached the stage where he became arrogant, where he turned his back on his friends, even if he did, when he snapped back into reality, that money, I'm telling you, for a 20-year-old, me at 20, if I had making $50,000 a show, $100,000, oh man, my friend would be living the same lifestyle. And that's just being real. If you gave me a couple mil right now, we still gonna live the same lifestyle. Not, I'm saying as in, if I go get $100,000 Rolex, they ain't gonna get the $100,000 Rolex now. Hear me out. They're gonna get like a $15,000, $20,000 Rolex. But you see what I'm saying. But there's no way that was his real friend. Because a real friend, first of all, your real friend don't count your pockets. So there had to be envy. And be careful who you got around you, Be careful who you call friends. I never understand people who allow people to be around them that they didn't trust. So you don't trust this person. You can't turn your back when this person is around because you feel that stabbing in your back. But this person is in your atmosphere. This person is in your biosphere. This person, whether you want to believe it or not, whether you're watching them to see how they gonna move, how they gonna act, they are influencing your energy, and you allowing them, and you don't even believe they are who they say they are. So the love you have for a friend is probably, in my eyes, one of the trickiest loves you can have because, yeah, there's bad parent-child relationships. There's bad relationships. But when it all hits the fan, who do we all want to run to? Not a brother or sister, not a cousin, but a friend. And 9 times out of 10, you would rather promote a friend to, oh, that's like my brother, than demote a brother to that's like my friend. And if you think about what I'm saying, if you make it this far, we always hear people promote a friend to some of the highest. That's like my big brother. That's my OG. That's my this and this and that. But you hardly ever see them promote a parent or a other relative or a child to this level. You know, prince and princess will always be prince and princess until someone comes and makes them king or queen. But parent can't make prince or princess king and queen. They can only groom them for that reality. So the love of a friend, in my eyes, it's like the second trickiest one. The first one is the love of self. Third and fourth, I think they're more simpler. Third being the love you have for a companion. Fourth being the love you have for a parent. In my eyes, if you got good parents, I know if you got good parents and one of them or both of them went about doing everything to the best of their ability, 9 times out of 10, that relationship may differ, but when you grow to your true understanding, you'll understand why parents are the way they are. Third being love of companion. Love of companion to me is the third trickiest because you're giving your life to somebody, but if you take your time with that process, 9 times out of 10, you can identify the problems that you guys are going to have. You're not going to agree on everything, and you can make the necessary adjustments. If the necessary adjustment is to, sorry, I've been under the weather lately. Just bear with me. If the necessary adjustments is to leave this person and let it be, okay then. If you take your time, you can identify that. If the necessary adjustment is I love this person so much, we gonna work our way through these problems, okay then. Second, the love of a friend. The love of a friend is tricky because you have to make sure you identify your real friends. It ain't gonna be many. Everybody ain't your best friend. Everybody ain't your friend. And if they not your true friends and you know they not your true friends, stop being dumb. Stop having them around you. It is harder, in my eyes, to pick a true friend than a true lover. It's just as hard. I'm not going to say harder. You can tilt the needle either way on that. It is just as hard to find a life friend than it is a life partner to me. In my eyes. Now I got lucky. I'm able to identify who's my real friend based off real situations that we've been into. But everybody ain't that fortunate. And number one, and the most important one, if you grow up and you and your parents don't get along, you don't have kids, you're not necessarily looking for someone to love, and you don't care for friends, you have to absolutely love yourself first. This is the number one type of love in my mind, the most important type of love, because even if you have those relationships, death is a real thing. What if your husband or wife dies? What if your child passes away? What if your parents pass away? What if your friend pass away? If you don't love yourself, if you're not in tune with yourself, there are going to be setbacks because it's life. But if you don't love yourself, if you're not in tune with yourself, that setback is going to hit you so major that you may not be able to recover. This is episode 13, season 1. It's almost over. Episode 14 will be me featuring Macy, the first black woman to hit the podcast. I could not end the season without having a woman, especially a black woman, marry Macy. I hope you're ready for the challenge. You will be representing all the beautiful black queens nationwide in this episode. Once again, this is Mark Mo Williams. This is the Give 'em Mo podcast. This is the manifesto on how to love, what ways to love. This is my love theory. Still don't know what the title gonna be. Thank you guys for being a part of the journey, and I'm out.